Oh my god, you won't believe what I've just found on eBay. I'm going to have to withdraw some petty cash and buy this.
Darren, this magnificent feast here is the last of the petty cash.
Slow down. Chew your food.
The last of the petty cash went down the drain for Twinkies and coffee and a busted chain. No more donuts, no more caffeine and rain. Just saving the city and feeling the strain.
Hello, welcome to the last of the Petty Cash podcast. I'm Darren McQuade and this is...
My name's Chris Carter.
So this is our first podcast. Hopefully this will be a long, fruitful journey for us both.
Yeah, definitely, we're hoping so. This has been a long while coming, so yeah.
Absolutely, as we love talking about Ghostbusters, and I mean, we could go on forever.
Yeah, without a doubt. You're going to have trouble shutting us up, if anything, so yeah, we've got plenty to say.
Absolutely. So in this first episode, we're going to talk a little bit about ourselves, just to introduce us to you, for anyone who doesn't know us, and then we're going to talk about Ghostbusters Day and all the announcements that have come for us, and what we've got to look forward to in the Ghostbusters world.
Yeah, so from what Darren's saying, there's a lot to talk about. There were some really great announcements on Ghostbusters Day, and yeah, so quite excited about talking about these bits and pieces.
Yeah, well, first, Chris, tell us who you are.
So, my name's Chris Carter. A lot of you know me within the community. I've been around for quite a while now, and I run Ghostbusters the Spirit of 84 on Instagram and on Facebook. It's a group that's been around for about 6 years. We've got quite a good following. It's a very family-friendly group, so yeah, it's just there for you to post anything and everything about Ghostbusters, etc. So yeah.
Yeah, and it is a great group, and as Chris said, family-friendly, which is why I'm banned from it.
Yes, as you know, one of Darren's alter egos, or you may not know, is Vigo the Cosplaythian. So yeah, we have to sort of censor him slightly. So yeah. But Darren, if you'd like to tell us a little bit more about your groups as well, that'd be great.
Yep, so I'm known as the Magic Ghostbuster. Outside of Ghostbusters, I am a professional magician, so I thought I'd mix the two. So I do a lot of Ghostbusters themed magic, and you can find my Magic Ghostbuster stuff on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I do technically have a Twitter page, but I don't use it. I haven't used it in years. And then, as Chris said, I'm also known as Vigo the Cosplaythian. And that is on Facebook and Instagram. I do post the occasional video on my Magic Ghostbuster page for that, but just to warn you, for anyone, that isn't a family-friendly thing. It's very much inspired by a page called Grumpy Skeletor. If you've seen that, you'll know the sort of humour that it involves. So you're the rude word and trolling the Ghostbusters, that sort of thing, really. Because Vigo, I think, is a very sore loser.
Yeah, and it's all very, very tongue-in-cheek, so nobody should take offence by it. And if you haven't seen Darren's Vigo, it is possibly the best Vigo out there. I'm not saying it because Darren's a friend. I mean, the work that Darren put into the costume, etc., is absolutely incredible. And he looks the part, and most of the time he actually behaves the part. So yeah. Yeah,
most of the time. I mean, if anyone from Sony is listening, you want to do a young Vigo film, because really that should be a priority, give us a call. I think.
Yeah.
But we are going to be talking about in future episodes about costuming and all that, so we'll probably go into a bit more detail about the Vigo and Ghostbusters costuming in a future episode, which will be
and
good.
Also, one thing which Darren has failed to mention, I think he's been a little bit humble about, Darren is also the Guinness World Record holder for the largest Ghostbusters collection. He went through a lot of pain with the help of some of the guys from Southend-on-Sea Ghostbusters.
Yeah, James and Kieran.
Yeah, to actually collate everything within his collection, and I've got to be honest, it's a task which I don't envy. I wouldn't want to do it. So yeah, fair play to Darren, and it's well deserved.
I couldn't do it again.
Yeah,
certainly. And again, that is something we'll talk about more in detail in a future episode, I think. Because and Chris himself has an immense collection as well, and I'm sure at some point we'll end up doing a room tour of both our collections.
We can do that.
Yeah, we can. I mean, we'll be talking a lot about collectibles over the life of this podcast, certainly. Yeah, because I mean, I can't speak for Chris, but I can speak for myself. A couple of weeks ago, I was planning to bid on something on eBay, and then forgot to bid on it, so I didn't win it, and I was like a bit gutted, and then found it on my shelf. And I've done that more than once, and then when you've collected that much, it happens, and Chris, I'm sure that's happened to you.
Yeah, I mean, I've got packages and parcels in the room which have more likely sat there 5 or 6 years, and that sounds terrible, but I just haven't got round to opening them up. It's like every day is Christmas Day when you go in that room. So yeah, I think it's one of the pains and one of the crosses we bear as collectors of Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I mean, sometimes I do put stuff up for sale, and that's normally why I put it up for sale, because I've bought it and not realised I've already got it.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh god.
Yeah. My wife says to me, it's not whether you've got it, Chris, it's how many of them you've got. It's got to that stage. But
yeah, how many firehouses do you have now? Is it like 7 or something? Like that?
No, I think it's about 9 firehouses.
Nine
but you can never have too many firehouses. So
no, that's true. You can sort of stack them on top of each other, some sort of super firehouse. Yeah. And you've probably got about 3 ectos for each firehouse.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So it's yeah.
So. You want to tell us just a little bit about how you got started in Ghostbusters?
Yeah, of course I can. So I'm one of the older guys from the Ghostbusters community.
I wasn't going to say.
Yeah, he's been kind to me. I'm 60 in a few weeks' time, so when Ghostbusters come out, I was 19 years old. Loved it from day one. I had a young son at the time, and I indulged him with Ghostbusters and anything Ghostbusters related. And as the years went on, I continued to pick up the odd bit at a toy fair or something like that. When the prices and when they were really low and no one was interested in Ghostbusters, it was all Star Wars. That was all people were interested in. And I've really stuck with it all the way through. And suddenly, you start to look behind you, and the collection and everything that you're doing within the Ghostbusters community is growing. And yeah, I wouldn't swap it. I love it. I love the people within the community, and it's created some great opportunities for myself and some of my friends. So it's it's a wonderful community with some really, really nice guys in it. So yeah, love Ghostbusters. Always have and always will.
Yeah, totally agree. So I'm a little bit younger than Chris. Younger and better looking, that sort of thing. And
that's open to debate. That one.
Yeah, open to debate. I've always said that I bring the sex appeal to the group, but no one agrees with me on that. Which don't know why.
Yeah, there will be an appeal for the group, but I don't know whether it's sex.
There will be. Yeah. So I was born in '83. So I was 1 when the film came out. So obviously I didn't really see the film in the cinema or anything. I saw the film on a VHS videotape that we had recorded off ITV probably back in the day. And then when the real Ghostbusters come out, I was at the perfect age for that. Just like getting all the toys and all that. I mean, I have this vague recollection of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man being my main want and being incredibly hard to get. And I mean, obviously, I probably would have been about 5 at this time, so maybe my memory's not perfect, but I do have this vague recollection of standing in Woolworths and just seeing it on the end and my dad buying it for me, which was great. And and obviously, as most kids do, they move on to other things, and for a little while I moved on to WWF action figures, turtle figures, but they never lasted long. It was always, I'd play with the turtles for a couple of months and it'd be like, no, I want the Ghostbusters back. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how it has been. I mean, my dad sold most of my stuff at a boot sale, when I was a teenager, so not much of my collection is my original stuff. I had to rebuy it, and I started rebuying that in my late teens, early 20s, and I've just never really stopped. And I think, like you say, no regrets. I think it's certainly an addiction, but it's a good addiction.
Yeah. You could be doing worse things, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is. It's strange, as Darren says, like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, of everything within Ghostbusters was so iconic. And I can remember my son being extremely young, and we used to do our food shopping on a Friday night, and we have a local Tesco's superstore, which obviously in America your equivalent would be Walmart or Target. And I remember my son, little Chris, was, oh my God, and he was after the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and we couldn't go past his toy aisle until we'd actually purchased him a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So it's funny how it always comes back to that.
I can totally relate to how he would have been feeling. There's just something about that Marshmallow Man. In fact, that Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, I've actually still got my original of the one I had as a kid. So, it's yellowed, and I think it's got marks on it from when I was playing with it. And I mean, I don't know what that is worth. If I stuck that on eBay now, I don't know what it'd go for. But because it was mine, and my nan always liked it as well, she said it always looked like it was reaching out for a hug. Yeah. And to me, that's one of the most priceless things in my collection. Even though it's not monetary, the most valuable, if I had to give it all away and keep one thing, it'd probably be that, just because of what all those memories attached to that specific figure.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate because obviously being a bit of an old, a bit older and a father at the time, and that I kept my son's Ghostbusters collection, so I made sure we kept the boxes, etc. And I still have within the collection all of his original figures, his original Ecto-1, the original Firehouse, still in the box, believe it or not. Although it has been played with and that, and Stay Puft, etc. There, well, we've still got all of those, so it is a really, really nice memory. And as you say, it's wouldn't part with them for anything,
absolutely. It's those things that really, it's about the memories that are attached to it, I think.
Without doubt, 100%.
My dad he's pretty much the opposite to you. He's not very sentimental about things, which is why this got moved on at boot sales. And the same happened to my older brother's Star Wars collection. Like, I like to talk to him about it occasionally, about how much it sold for, like £25. His entire Star Wars collection.
Yeah, well, I don't think we'll go down the Star Wars route, because I've made some terrible decisions and that myself with Star Wars, and I've got rid of some collections which now would have more than likely helped with my retirement. So it's one of those. But as I say, the stuff which never ever goes is Ghostbusters. As long as there's no Ghost logo on it, it's staying put, so it's...
Absolutely. And when we've collected, I find it funny how some stuff has survived. Like, obviously everyone wants action figures, those survive. But for me, the things I prefer are like the drinks cartons and the Easter egg boxes. Those sort of things are the things that not a lot of people thought to keep.
The very, very disposable items. They are definitely, they're your grail items, as I say. Toys, a lot of the toys were made in such large amounts that, very much like Star Wars and Turtles, they're available without any too much trouble. But you're going to pay a little bit more money for them. But your consumables and your disposables, your breakfast cereal boxes, as you say, like, your sweet wrappers, fast food wrappers, etc. They're your grail items, and they're the things both me and Darren really cover. When they come along, we're always trying to help each other with that. So I mean, not so long ago, we actually managed to achieve a little bit of a growl. We got
2 of the crisp boxes, from the old Real Ghostbusters crisps. So you had so there was 3 flavours. I can't remember what flavours now, but there was blue, green, and black.
Spicy tomato was one, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, I think that was green.
Yeah, we had the
cheese and bacon.
Cheese and bacon, was it? Yeah,
I think
possibly.
It was black. And I feel like blue might have been salt and vinegar.
Possibly. Yeah.
Well, I could be remembering wrong on this, but 2 of them come up, and me and Chris both knew each other were watching it on eBay and was going to try and outbid each other, didn't we? And that just would have, like, both would have been bankrupt if we had attempted that. So we just like, shall we bid together and we'll split it? So we got a blue and a green, didn't we?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and we I was in charge of the bidding. We agreed a sort of amount that we were both willing to go to, and then we split the boxes. So we got one each.
Yeah, which is sometimes a nice way to do it, because as I say, me and Darren are both sort of high-end collectors. We're looking for those unusual and obscure items. So we tend to talk to each other so as we're not bidding each other up, because, that's the worst possible scenario, And there's other guys in the community, people like Danny from the Rogue and that, we talk to Danny when he's bidding on items, doesn't he?
We do it to help each other out, really, and it sort of, goes in turns. I mean, I remember there was that bot bag you were really after at one point. So I backed out of that. I didn't bid on it. I let you get it. And it just keeps that price down a little bit. So obviously you can't stop everyone bidding on it, but if I'm not bidding it, that means you might have paid £50 less or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's a nice thing to do for one another, because some of these things do come around in multiples. So you'll get a second shot at it. And I can't keep my eye on everything all the time. I'm sure Darren can't. So it's we are trying to sort of work together. And really, it's a good thing as regards the community.
Absolutely.
It's rather than say just call it being a dog in a manger with it, wanting to own it all, and not wanting to give anyone a chance at it. So
no, and realistically, even as much as we've got, I don't think either of us could ever own every Ghostbusters item, because I mean, every now and again there'll be an item come up on eBay that I've never seen before, and it might be some weird obscure thing from Japan, or it might just be some bit of random stationery that come out in here but was only available in one shop in one region, things like that you never knew about. And I'm sure there's still items out there that we don't know about. But
yeah, definitely.
I mean, one of my rarest things is a Ghostbusters 2 cracker box, and mine is the only one I have ever managed to find any documentation of.
And this is Christmas crackers we're talking about, not edible crackers. So yeah.
Oh, do you mean I wasn't supposed to eat it?
No, you wasn't supposed to eat them, Darren. Yeah, okay.
Right, that was a mistake. Right, remove it. And that's not through any lack of trying. I've been trying because the box is empty, and the closest I've ever found to find anything else from it was just a couple of cardboard slimes from the front of the Christmas crackers.
Yeah.
But I've never found what the actual Christmas crackers themselves look like, because even if I could just find a picture, I'd just make some reproductions to display it. But,
no, it is an extremely rare item, and as you say, every now and then you do stumble across those things. I mean, I've got a blue ghost from the real Ghostbusters, and it's a stuffed toy. It's licensed by a company and who I can't remember off the top of my head, but and it's sort of was one of these ones that's stuck in the back of a car. And again, I've never ever seen another one. And I think I've had conversations with Bobby 80s, Robert Bavera and that over this, and I mean he hadn't seen one either. And if he hasn't seen it, that's saying something. And that was just something that I found in a random bag at a boot sale once. Maybe it was something that never got produced fully. Who knows?
Yeah, and it's weird, isn't it? Sometimes you find these in the most random places. I think another rarity, and I've only ever seen 2 of these, and funny enough, we both have one, is a Ghostbusters 2 rug.
Yeah.
And it's official, we know that.
Yeah.
But I can't say I've ever really seen another one anywhere.
No, and Darren was very fortunate with the one you found. You found it in the most obscure of places, didn't you?
In an antique centre. I know, because you had bought one recently on eBay at that point, hadn't you? And and I just come across one in an antique centre. So very randomly, I'd had, because they do the same as a real Ghostbusters version, which was the one still rare, but they'd come up every now and
they're
again.
slightly more obtainable than that. Yeah, so
not something you'll find every week on eBay, but you find a couple a year normally, I guess.
Yeah,
something like that. But Ghostbusters 2 one. Yeah, never seen it.
No, as we say, there's and a lot of these things we will share over the coming episodes. We'll pull out some of the stuff out of both our collections, and we'll give you the opportunity to see these, and we can talk about them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that wraps up our little intro to ourselves. So, shall we move on to talking about Ghostbusters Day?
Yeah, Ghostbusters Day. What a day it was. I was fortunate enough to be out in New York again this year. Last year I was out there with Darren and the guys.
For the 40th. In fact, I'm currently wearing our crew t-shirt we made for the 40th, and an absolutely amazing time we had for the 40th. It was incredible, and I couldn't make it this year personally, just life and all that sort of stuff got in the way a little bit, and I must admit, part of me was thinking 41st ain't going to be anything special, ain't going to be as big, but then I see all the pictures and it's like it looked just as busy, which was, and that's not a complaint. I was very pleased to see that it was.
Carrying on. We was extremely fortunate. Obviously, the guys from Yes Had Some, Craig, Jacob, and Abby, and that they put on this amazing party on the Friday night, which was great just to catch up with everybody. And that was at Rodney's, which happens to be just opposite Melody's Diner, as it was in Frozen Empire. So that was pretty cool. Eric from Sony Ghost Corps, he attended, as did McKenna, which was really lovely. McKenna, sweetness and light as she always is. Lots of time for the fans to have photos, to chat. So it made a really good start to the 41st,
Yeah, no, it looked amazing. I mean, just talking about McKenna just for a second, going off track. I mean, we obviously met her at the crew screening of Frozen Empire, and she was, again, made so much time for the fans and all that. And very lovely person you want representing the franchise.
Oh, without a doubt. She's a very, very she's obviously a young lady who just knows how to carry herself with the fans. She can hold court, can't she? Within when we was at the say at the premiere in London, you know, she told the fans, because they were getting a little bit angst, and she was like, "Calm down. I will get to everybody. You will all get a photo. You will all get an autograph." And everyone just they were so relaxed once she'd done that. And you know, showing maturity beyond her years, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
as I say. So yeah, I mean, it was great to see her again. I had a couple of photos that where I'd spent time on the set of Frozen Empire with her that I got her to sign, which was really nice, and she remembered, like, you know, remembered me from being there, which again is quite kind of her and that. And yeah, we had a great time, and you know, thanks goes out to the guys at Yes Have Some for putting that on. I know what a lot of hard work that is, you know, and it's always great fun to spend time with those people. So yeah.
Yeah, I hope to meet them in person one day. They seem like great people from what I've seen on the podcast, and yeah, hopefully I can make it back next year. Hopefully do a party again.
Well,
time will tell.
Fingers crossed. I'm going to keep prodding Craig and that. You know, I know he's got a lot going on, obviously with the new book coming out and a few other bits and pieces, and getting around to San Diego Comic Con and that. But yeah, really hopeful that we can do so again next year, because it was an absolute success.
Yeah, and you brought up his book. I mean, obviously we haven't got it yet. How good does it look from the previews? Oh, it looks insane.
Yeah. Obviously, Craig and Troy have done what I can see to be an absolutely incredible job. Something me and Darren are so excited about receiving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
dream book. Basically.
Yeah, definitely. So when that comes out, you know, we'll have it more or less straight away. We will do a review on that on one of the podcasts and that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spend a little bit of time on that, because, as I say, it's something as fans we've waited for a long while.
Yeah,
you know.
And I mean, I kind of thought it was one of these things that would never happen, but we've always wanted the definitive book of the real Ghostbusters. Obviously, we've had the visual books about the franchise as a whole and the films, which have had tiny, like just a small chapter on the real Ghostbusters, but to have a whole book.
Yeah, this year does very much feel like the year of the real Ghostbuster. You know, obviously with the Mondo releases.
The Mondo, and 40th anniversary of the real Ghostbusters next year.
Yeah.
So, exciting times.
And I mean, this will bring us on to, you know, talking about Ghostbusters Day was obviously some of the announcements that come from Hasbro. So I think everybody was second guessing what was going to happen, what they were going to announce, and what was going to be made available. And for me and Darren, and I think there's a lot of guys out there, especially the hardened collectors, the announcements that we was going to get a chance to all own the Ecto-Glows. Anybody that's collected, I mean, Darren will tell you, I mean, what's the cost like in the Ecto-Glows?
I mean, the cost on these has fluctuated a bit over the years, but I mean, to get a full set, I guess at its highest end, we're looking at about £4,000 at the higher end.
Yeah.
I mean, the price has dropped and gone back up several times. I mean, I'm sure in America, maybe earlier this year, a set sold for just over $4,000, which I guess is what, about £3,000 in our money. So it's going to be interesting to see how the value goes on the originals when these new ones come out. And I know some people are going to jump on, go, they're worthless. No, absolutely not. There's always going to be people that will want those originals. So even though the price might drop a little bit, they're still going to be worth a lot.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a dip in the prices of the originals, definitely. But the real collectors, like Star Wars, like Turtles, it doesn't affect the originals. To say, like, you know, there'll be people that this gives them the chance to own these, which is really great. You know,
people that are not that fussed about them being original, they just want them, and they're not sort of people that are going to spend a sort of £2,000-3,000 on a set.
No.
So yeah, it is good for that, and it's the same really with when they re-released the original for Ghostbusters and the Ecto One. You know, the same sort of thing really.
Yeah, there was a little dip, nothing major. I would say prices. I mean, I feel prices have dropped on a lot of these items, but I think that's just a I think it's the financial climate, isn't it?
The financial climate is a bit weird at the moment, and that's just across the board. I think the value on a lot of stuff has dropped. I think obviously when you have big events like the 40th, that tends to push things up a little bit, so you obviously get that little downward bit again. And obviously we had a film last year, and I'm pretty sure if they do another film, you know, in a couple of years, or obviously we've got the animated thing, that'll push it up again. But the financial thing, I mean, we could do a whole podcast just moaning about that, really. So we probably shouldn't go too in depth
I won't
into
go
that.
into that too much.
But I think that's definitely a part of.
I mean, so not only obviously talking to Emily and Pat at Ghostbusters Day, not only did they announce that we was going to get the 4 Ecto Glows, which come in a really nicely redesigned box, which are beautiful, and you get the 4 carded figures in the box. We're also going to get a Lewis Tully and one of these, which was never ever produced.
This is the Ecto Glow Copter, and if you've never seen one of these before, it was in the 1991 Kenner Trade Fair catalogue, along with some other stuff that was never produced. That was when the Ghostbusters line ended. And that was the sort of stuff that I really wanted from the Kenner line when they started bringing it back, was unproduced stuff. I mean, I know they've done that in their Star Wars retro collection recently. They've been doing characters in the old style, so it's good to see them doing that. And it's not the only thing they're doing.
No, so obviously we're going to get the 4 figures. Then there will be the opportunity for the Ectocopter and the Lewis Tully figure. Which obviously that's a real biggie, because obviously you can't produce the 4 guys without Lewis. And then there was the announcement that we're going to get an Ecto 1.
An Ecto Glow Ecto. That's a mouthful,
Yeah,
isn't
that
it?
is,
Ecto Glow Ecto 1. Which looks. I've never really even thought about an Ecto Glow Ecto 1 before, but then you see the picture and it's like, that's just perfection.
I was exactly the same. When I saw it that morning, when I was unpacking on that, I was just like, oh wow, the box, everything, you know. And for a lot of us, it's the packaging as much as the toy, you know. So we've got we saw the mock-up of it, and it's looking pretty incredible. And then obviously on top of that, they then announced
they had the Stay Puft and Slimer Ecto Glows.
So that's
in that style. And that was they only showed a little silhouette of them, so we have no idea what they're going to look like. I mean, I would assume Stay Puft is going to be in that sort of glow in the dark colour, and I assume Slimer will be similar, just in a lighter green colour. Perhaps, which is going to be interesting to see. So
really great news. I mean, as I say, I know there's the naysayers out there that feel, you know, this isn't what they wanted from Hasbro, but talking to most of the guys that collect, you know, and some of them that aren't big collectors, they're over the moon to be able to get Ecto Glows. You know.
Absolutely.
I'm as pleased as punch. And also, you know, talking to the guys from Hasbro, you know, they hinted at, you know, we might see some other things that haven't been produced coming out, you know, that were scheduled on the catalogue, so we could hope for
so we had Egon's Lab, was one of them. We had the fire truck, which I can't remember the name they gave that now in the catalogue, but it looked like a fire truck. And then there was Power Pack Heroes, I'd like to say. And they had big proton packs with ghosts
that come out the top.
And then there was a couple of role-play items as well. There was the Slimerizer, which was like popped out these little slime bullets. And I can't remember the name of the other one, but it shot out like little discs. It looked like the Ghostbusters logo. So if they'd done all of that,
we'd be
no pressure, Hasbro.
No pressure, Emily, Pat.
I want it all.
But you know, we're really pleased with that. And obviously, that wasn't the only news on the day.
Plenty of other stuff. So we'll start with what I think was the smallest and most predictable thing, which is the 4-pack of figures. Because obviously we've got the Ecto 1 HasLab, which was last year, and I know they said on another podcast, which I would like to say was probably the Yes Have Some podcast, but I might be getting mixed up, that they would re-release the figures for those who didn't buy the figures back in the day, but want them to go with their newly funded Ecto 1. So they've got them coming as a 4-pack.
Resculpt heads.
Resculpted heads and everything. So they're available to pre-order now on Hasbro Pulse, which if You pre-ordered yours, Chris?
I've pre-ordered mine. Yeah.
Excellent. So have I. Luckily, for anyone who wonders about pre-ordering stuff like that, is you're not charging until it ships. So and they're not scheduled to ship till early the year.
I think I think we're going to see. I think the figures will be in the first quarter of next year.
So plenty of time to get the money in the bank.
I did just to sort of alleviate people's fears and that, and it was a question I'd asked a couple of times. Once at the party and then again on Ghostbusters Day talking to Emily, that you are going to get a shot of being able to buy the Ecto Glows. There's lots of people saying, oh, San Diego Comic Con exclusive. Yes, it is, but they do envisage that everyone's going to get a fair shot to be able to buy them, and they are going to be available in the UK as well. So just be careful, don't go getting your fingers burnt by paying silly amounts of money from scalpers. Okay, be patient. And I'm pretty certain that you will get a shot of purchasing these for the price you should be paying. I will try, and through the channels and that we've got open, I will try to sort of confirm this with Emily or Pat or somebody who will be able to tell us, for certain, and give us an idea on costings, etc. So
yeah, and if we get any confirmation like that, we'll post that to our Facebook page. So if you're not following that, follow that. Which is good, and also it makes good business sense for them to make them available, because people ain't going to want the Ecto Glowcopter if they haven't got the figures to go with it.
So, exactly.
It makes sense for that. But probably the big announcement for most people on Ghostbusters Day was the new Proton Pack.
Yeah, the 84 pack. I think it's something a lot of people never thought they were going to get. Obviously, where we had the Afterlife pack and that. Yeah. The thought that suddenly we was going to get an 84 pack, I don't think that even crossed our minds.
No, absolutely not. I never expected it. I was thinking, maybe they'll announce goggles or something, but an 84 pack. I mean, I know a lot of people converted their Spengler pack into an 84 pack.
Yeah. You'll be kicking yourselves.
Yeah, you will. It's just made my Spengler pack rarer and more valuable. So. But it's good to see, because there's a lot of people out who still want them. And again, pre-order it as soon as you can, because I believe it has already sold out in Europe, hasn't it?
Yeah. Whether there'll be another, I think there is. I mean, again, I'll have to check the facts on this. I think there will be a finite run on this. So yeah, don't sit back and wait till last minute. If you can, order one. Again, you're not going to get charged until it ships.
Nothing to lose.
No, and in all fairness, I mean, if you'd have told me 20 years ago that you were going to be able to buy an 84 pack, for £300,
you never would have believed it in a million years. I mean, for us who've been in the fandom for such a long time, I mean, obviously, Proton Pack's quite an easy thing to get now. Obviously, you've got this Hasbro one, you had the previous Hasbro one, Spirit, Halloween have done their own one, Rubies have done their own one, there's inflatable versions, there's the cheap Hasbro blue one. But I mean, back when we started, I mean, our only official option was the old Kenner one with the
foam proton stream.
Yeah, and we had to make our own ones, and of course the cost of making one back then, I mean, it's gotten cheaper over the years with the advancements of 3D printing, but I mean, to make a Proton Pack 20 years ago would have been, I can't think what we spent on our Proton Pack. I don't really want to think about what we spent on our Proton Packs, if I'm honest.
I mean, I think my first shell came from a guy in America, and it was a long time ago, and yeah, I mean, I think I must have paid about £600 for the shell at the time, and then, at the time, I think a lot of people will remember people like Multimedia Mayhem, who come out of Canada. So we was ordering a lot of parts and bits and pieces from guys like that. We had Nicotron over in the UK and that, and it was very, very difficult and tricky to get all the parts you needed.
And just buying all the real valves and all that, and some people sculpted them. I was more of I wanted to get real clippered valves and all that myself, and all that sort of stuff added up, and adds to the weight of the pack as well. I mean, it's funny because I actually seen people complaining about the HasLab one being too heavy, and I'm just like, you don't know you've been born, mate. When you compare it to the weight of the ones that we've been wearing for years.
Yeah, I mean, we was very fortunate in the UK that Bennett Kent come on the scene, and he made it a lot more accessible for people to own and build a proton pack. I think up until then, there was a lot of guys making packs from wood and metal and resin and all sorts using. I think it was Stefan's plans at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And as I say, you was literally, there was no one to guide you, no one to help you. Facebook wasn't like it is.
No.
I mean, our only major resource centre was
gbfans.com. Yeah.
I mean, if it hadn't been for AJ setting that up back in the day, you'd have felt like a very lonely Ghostbuster.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy to think how it's all advanced. It's going to be interesting to see how this new 84 pack affects the prop makers as well, and that sort of thing. But I think it's exciting news, and like I say, if you want to pre-order a pack, don't wait. Pre-order it now, because like we said, you don't have to pay for it, do you? So,
no.
If you change your mind down the line, you can cancel it. But don't wait, because, if they don't come back out again, you could end up regretting it.
And what we'll say as well for people that are on the fence, if you can pick up a Hasbro 84 wand now, do it. I'm sure Hasbro are going to revisit how many packs they sell, look at how many wands were produced in the last run, and make sure there are sufficient wands to go round. But don't be sitting there hoping that definitely happens. So I would suggest it, and it's not scaremongering or anything like that. Don't pay through the nose, but try and pick yourself up an 84 wand if you see one at a fair price. We saw in the States a lot of them hit Ollie's, I think it was, and that, and they they were extremely cheap and that, and a lot of people will be pleased they picked one up. When they did. Absolutely,
and I think the same goes for the Alice frame. If you can get them now, because once that pack hits, they'll get harder to get again, as we saw when the Spengler pack shipped. Alice frames just went silly. So.
And in all fairness, you can get away with a Rothko one. The packs are light. They're not super heavy. Again, if you mod them and add extra weight to them, then it might be an issue. But I stuck a Rothko one on my Afterlife pack, and I've had no issues with it whatsoever. So, I don't think you need to be looking for a vintage LC one or,
absolutely not.
So, I mean, as Darren says, don't wait until the last minute to order those things. Maybe think about ordering that sooner rather than later.
Yeah. So, I think the only other merch announcement that springs to my mind from that day was Crocs.
Crocs. Yeah.
Do we have to talk about this?
Well, yes, I suppose we do in a way. I'm not a Crocs guy. Never have been, never will be.
No, I'm not. I'm very much not a Crocs guy. Like, absolutely not a Crocs guy. In fact, a friend of ours is a Crocs guy.
Yeah.
Old Alan.
Yeah.
And we used to say stuff to him about his Crocs.
Yeah, we used to ridicule him.
yeah, just a tad. Hello, Alan, if you're watching this, I'm sure you've probably already ordered them.
Yeah. But I will say, as Crocs go, they're pretty cool. There's lots of things on them that I didn't think would be on them,
I mean, they are just so Ghostbusters.
They are. They absolutely scream Ghostbusters. And I think my wife was going, Amanda, she was going, do you want the Crocs? And I was thinking, do I want the Crocs? Are they just going to sit on the shelf in there? But I was quite taken by the proton pack that you press and you get a proton stream, the light and sand and that. The Crocs, you've ticked all the boxes, guys.
Yeah, you certainly have. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy them.
Yeah, but I think they retail over here for, I think they're around about the £70 mark, something like that.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, they are fairly expensive for something that will be a shelf warmer. But saying that, I've bought so many pairs of Ghostbusters trainers that will never, ever be worn.
Yeah, and to be fair, I have. So, even if I was a Crocs guy, it would be the sort of thing I would have bought two pairs of. One to wear, one to keep. I mean, I think it was the Reebok trainers. I'm getting mixed up with all my different trainers now. There was a Terradog set, and I really like them, so I actually have two pairs of them. One I'll wear and one to keep in the box, which It's a bit sad, really, isn't it, buying trainers to keep in a box? But
yeah, but we'll do an episode on footwear, because again, there has been so many releases of Ghostbusters footwear, and within my collection, I've got a couple of rares.
Yes, you got so lucky on
I
the
did.
set, which I actually saw on eBay and didn't realise what it was. Otherwise, that'd be mine.
Yeah, yeah. And I've got to be honest, I think the guys at Yes Have Some were like, "How did you come by those?"
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll enlighten you about those on another episode, yeah, they're pretty cool. But
yeah, but I think that was everything merch-wise, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Do you want to just talk quickly about the merch that was actually available at Ghostbusters Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you very kindly managed to get me quite a lot of that stuff as well.
Yeah, well, first and
nice.
foremost, I just really I think, and it's appreciation from all of us, especially the guys over here, to Dan Lindbergh and the guys from the Buffalo Ghostbusters. They never cease to amaze me on their hard work and dedication to the day, and it runs pretty smoothly considering the amount of people and needy fans they have to deal with.
Yeah.
And as I say, it's a thankless undertaking that they take on over there, but they do such an incredible job, the guys, and they're on their feet going for it from about 8 o'clock in the morning and this time till about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night. So a big thank you to you guys.
Absolutely.
It's as I say, it means a lot that you take the effort to do that and to give us all the chance to come out and celebrate with you.
Yeah, and just how successful it is. I mean, I remember last year when I was filming a video, and I think not long before I left, I'd done a video walking down the side of the firehouse, and you can just see the queue still. It was so long.
Yeah.
And, that was probably, 3 hours in or something like that.
And I mean, it is, it's a great cause, they raise an astronomical amount of money for a wonderful cause. The guys at Hook and Ladder, they are welcoming and extremely kind with their time, even when Ghostbusters Day isn't going on, they're used to all of us mad fans turning up there.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they put all our patches on display, all that sort of stuff, they don't have to.
No.
They could just say, look, we're a working firehouse, go away.
Yeah.
They could do that, and they'd be well entitled to do that, but they don't. They embrace us. They're great guys. I've been out there myself, I've been out there with you, and it's just always been an incredible experience, and certainly the 40th anniversary out there with you was, such an amazing day. And again, I don't think you can really thank the Buffalo Ghostbusters enough.
No, definitely, guys. Yeah, absolutely incredible, and we love you and appreciate everything you do. It's it's very, very nice. So as regards merch out there, so there was a few bits and pieces available. So we had obviously a signing, and very kindly, Sony, I mean, I know a little bit of the history of this and I don't want to go into it too much, but Sony decided that they wanted to give the fans something back. So they gave you this incredible opportunity for $40 to get a poster signed by the Alessis, by the wonderful Joe Cirillo, who's, we absolutely love you, Joe, you're absolutely legend, mate. We had McKenna, we had Jason, and we had Carrie, which was a real surprise,
$40. I mean,
it's just like,
I don't keep up very well with autograph values, but I mean, each one of them alone has got to be worth more than $40.
Without a doubt, I'd have happily paid that for each of them, and I wouldn't have been grizzling, and I'd expected to pay that for them, So that was an amazing bargain to have on the day. The Alessis again, so they're great guys. They're always willing to stop, talk, chat, take photos. They had their CDs and that they're available to buy, and there was a pamphlet book as well, which I think you've ordered and that.
So because I forgot to ask you for a couple of things. I forgot to ask for a patch, which I've ordered, and the pamphlet book, which is signed by the Alessis, I've got to order, and I've got to ask you for one of the Hook and Ladder t-shirts. Luckily, I've managed to get one because John Miller, who it's Miller Time, really lovely guy, messaged me last week, and he said he bought a spare. do I want it?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
you're a legend, John.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I said, how much? He doesn't want any money for it.
Yeah. John's another one of one of our latest members from
Yeah.
South NLC Ghostbusters. So.
And
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of nice guys in the community, but he is certainly up there. Like,
Yeah, no, John is. Yeah. And even McKenna loved the fact that his T-shirt said Miller Time. So you got me to thank for that, John. Yes. But yeah, so there was, obviously as Darren said, there was a hook and ladder plate, there was a number plate.
Yeah, which looks like the Ecto 1 plate,
Yeah.
doesn't it? And it's the same design as the patch, and it looks like Ecto 1 plate, except it's got ladder 8 instead of Ecto 1. And it's such a simple design, but it works so well.
Yeah, really well. Yeah.
And then there's the coin.
The coin, which again, like, amazing. Absolutely love the coins. I think the coins have been designed by Eric, haven't they? Eric Christensen. So
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he normally does the designs for the coins and that. Eric, again, lovely guy. Trying to think what else it was.
Yeah. So there was the coin, the plate, the I'm sure it's gone completely out of my head now.
There was a T-shirt.
There was the T-shirt.
Yeah, which I think is still available on TeePublic. I think you can still.
Yes. So there's two different T-shirts, isn't there? There's the Buffalo's own T-shirt,
yeah.
And then there's the one that the Hook and Ladder guys do themselves.
Yeah.
And that one is exclusive on the day.
Yeah, and that one,
no, you can't.
Yeah, that one's sold out quite a while ago.
Yeah, because we all got the one they did last year. And I believe they sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is absolutely incredible.
And again, the one this year, when I was saying earlier, it's a bit of a real Ghostbusters year. It's very real Ghostbuster-ish. Spoke to a couple of firefighters and they weren't sure they liked the design, but we loved it and we was all over it. You know, it's
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw the picture of it, it was like, oh, I should have asked Chris to get you that.
Yeah, the problem being as well, if you ever manage to get your bums out there and you go to the Ghostbusters Day, obviously for ease of everything, obviously all transactions are in cash. So you have to make sure you've got enough cash with you, you've taken enough cash, because trying to draw cash out in New York on a Saturday afternoon or whatever is extremely difficult. So literally Darren had asked me sort of lastminute.com about the T-shirt, and I didn't have enough cash on me. I had enough on my card, etc., but I just didn't have enough cash to pick him one up. So
no, which is fair enough. I left it too. I actually hate him, really. I'm joking. No, fair enough. You know, that is fair enough. I didn't even think about it at the time, and even in my message I said, look, if you don't have the cash, don't worry. But if you do, can you pick me up? But John saved the day anyway. So
I think what people don't realise, because obviously when you're out there and people know you're out there, especially because we was doing a lot of crazy shit. We really was. And so everyone knew we was out there. You know, my phone, you know, is pinging left, right and centre. Can you get me this? Can you get me that? And I think that, you know, I'd love to get everybody everything they ask for, but I think what people have to understand, you know, this is my holiday, you know, as much as anybody else's.
Yeah, there's a limit on what you can get in your suitcase, and we all had the same the previous year, didn't we? I was getting loads of stuff, and I did pick up a couple of bits for some people, but basically, I mean, I was putting stuff in. I think it was Richard who was with us last year. And he was putting stuff in his suitcase because he doesn't collect quite as much as we do.
And he only went out with 2 pairs of pants as well.
Yeah,
so that kept the weight down.
To smell by the last day. But ultimately, you know, it's me or Chris that have paid the money to go. So, you know, we'd always help people when we can. But ultimately, it might sound a bit selfish, but it's our holiday, and we've, our merch is the priority. And then also, really, you are going to prioritise your closest friends first.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's very stressful, the merchandise side of things, you know, because you have your signings, you have your merch. You do spend quite a lot of the time in queues. So it is extremely difficult. So, I think people just need to be slightly aware of that, you know, and maybe when they eventually go out there and experience it themselves, they'll see what you're up against. Yeah. What I will say, people need to understand, it's pretty affordable. New York is pretty affordable. It's not out there. So, you know, if you're thinking about going and you need any advice or help, please reach out to me or Darren or any of the guys from SOS, and we'll point you in the right direction. You know, because as I say, everybody needs to make the pilgrimage once in their life at least. You know, So yeah, as I say, please, if you've got any questions regarding it, costings, anything like that, who I book with, etc., just reach out and I'll try and help you the best I can.
Absolutely, and I've just remembered the other merch now as well. So there was the Ghostbusters Day CD.
The Ghostbusters Day CD, yeah, that's correct, yeah.
Which had a couple of songs from the LSs,
yeah,
and one from the Mad Splatter, who I think was performing there.
Yeah, that's correct.
I'm not actually familiar with the Mad Splatter, but
yeah, it was a good day. It was a very good day.
And then the LSs, I think you already talked about the LSs CD, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, because I actually intended to buy that last year and just completely forgot.
Yeah, again, same. I think last year, if you remember rightly, I think we moved through the queue and the LSs were performing when we was in the queue, and then when we was in the next part of the queue, the LSs were inside signing, so we missed out.
Yeah.
So
and I guess the only other bit which wasn't a thing for sale was you did get an exclusive patch.
Exclusive patch, yeah, that was a really lovely thing. So yeah, managed to get one or two of those. I think I gave Darren one. But again, you don't want to take advantage because these were given out by Sony, and you know, if people are giving you something for free, I don't want to go, oh, can I have 5 or 6 for my friends, because it's not really the done thing. So
no, I think it leaves a bad impression.
Yeah.
And yeah, in my opinion, it doesn't give you a good look. And it reflects badly on the fans.
Yeah. So yeah, that was sort of Ghostbusters Day, which you know, was pretty amazing. Now the only other big announcement was from Jason. So I think everybody was anticipating, oh, he's going to announce a new film, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. You know, we was all pretty much in the dark about it, but it was
Ghostbusters Give Back, which is a charity initiative. So basically, now this is only open to US groups at the moment. But basically, whatever money those groups raise, Sony are gonna basically double it.
Yeah, there's gonna be like a matching total on that. So
yeah, and they're making a little bit of a competition, so the groups can you can see how much Buffalo Ghostbusters have raised and all the other Ghostbusters groups. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, we have actually got something which we're going to announce, you know, in the next, I'd say in the next 3 or 4 weeks, that we're doing over here. It's going to be on the theme of Ghostbusters Give Back. We'll tell you more about it closer to the time.
Yep.
But a big part of what I'm trying to do, and Darren and that, and the guys at South End, when we've talked about it, is I want to unite. I want to unite groups. I don't want competition between groups. I want to bring people together. I think for far too long there's been a little bit too much animosity within some of the areas of Ghostbusters. Yeah. It's an area that I don't like. I don't particularly like that. I try to be friends with everybody that I can be, unless you're an absolute arse. So I want to try and do this with the guys and unite some groups to work together with views to help in one common cause. Yeah. So as I say, stay tuned for that. It's a really big thing for us this year, and we've got a little bit of the backing of Sony. Sony are aware of what I'm doing and that, so it could be something really nice to be involved with. So yeah, please.
Yeah, we're not going to say any more at the moment, but it's going to be very exciting. So yeah, and I think it's nice to do it that way, because I guess my only fear with the give back thing is it gonna cause some animosity between groups when one group's raising more than the other and that sort of thing? Because competition can bring out the best in people, but it can sometimes bring out the worst in people.
Without a doubt.
And you know, obviously, I hope I am proven completely wrong on that, but it is a slight concern on that. But overall, the winner is going to be the charity, and that's the main thing. So yeah, really great idea from Sony and Ghost Corps there again. So I think really that brings us to the end of our first episode.
Just before we wrap, we wanted to just take a chance just to acknowledge a couple of pieces from a couple of the fans within the franchise.
So first up, we have a Ghostbusters 2 reproduction clapperboard, which looks like the clapperboard from the set of Ghostbusters 2. Really great quality, and this comes from our friend Austin, who has his own X01, so I'm slightly jealous of Austin as well. And he did make really great replicas of the Frozen Empire collectible as well. But do you know Austin's Instagram and all that off the top of your head?
So you can contact Austin. His name is Austin Brown on Ecto1GB on Facebook and Instagram. These are currently going out for sale at £65 plus £5 postage and packing. These are amazing. Please, can I suggest you try and hit Austin up and buy one, because we use these to get signings, and these look incredible with signatures on them. Or if you just want it as a prop, just to sit there, you know, likewise. But, you know, people are quite envious when I go to various gigs. I mean, my Frozen Empire one's quite full now.
Looks amazing. And even when we were doing promo work for Frozen Empire, we'd actually just use it for photos where people would stand with us and hold the clapperboard in the middle. So they're great for that as well. Yeah.
And final item, but not at least, is this amazing bell. This is produced by Ryan Walton. Ryan's a member of the East Midlands Ghostbusters group, and do you know what, Ryan, you've absolutely smashed it, mate. Love the work on this, Darren.
I mean, I don't even know how to put it into words how good this is. So I saw one of these a couple of weekends ago. So James Riches bought one, and was just using it. You know, all day. He sent me a video of it, and I was, and it, you know, it sounds loud in the video, and I was like, well, it's going to sound loud in the video, but then using it in a convention, it's still loud. Yeah. It's so good, and like, that you can get such a good speaker in such a tiny thing. I need to get one of these. Yeah. So, yeah, done an amazing job on that.
Don't miss out with this, because as I say, I think Ryan's limited on how many of these he can actually make, because it will be down to the parts that he needs, the vintage parts. As I say, it does various sort of like bits from Ghostbusters and that. Ryan's got this 100% right. You know, the guy takes your order, he doesn't take any money until it's ready to send you. These retail at 80.
It was about £80.
£80.
I'll give or take, maybe. I can't remember exactly now.
Worth
it was
absolutely every penny.
Absolutely.
It comes packaged really well, full instructions, little screwdriver in there, and it's chargeable with USB and that. So, well done, Ryan. You know, amazing, mate. And there's a lot to learn from the way you're doing business. You've got it right, mate. So we'll give it a little press, shall we, Darren?
Go for it.
Ghostbusters, what do you want? You are so kind to take care of that man. You know, you're a real humanitarian.
I don't think he's human.
We got one!
So that is just an amazing item from Ryan.
Yeah.
So I will definitely be getting one of them. But yeah, that wraps up our first episode of The Last of the Petty Cash. Yeah, thanks for watching or listening wherever you are. But don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on all the different social media platforms. Yeah, and we're The Last of the Petty Cash, and we are ready to believe you.
The ghosts are gone, but the bills still stack. Ecto ones rattling with a busted rack. Winston says we're running out of snacks, and the petty cash jar is looking kinda slack. The last of the petty cash went down the drain, for Twinkies and coffee and a busted chain. No more donuts, no more caffeine rain, just saving the city and feeling the strain. Ray's got a plan, but it's held with tape. Egon's experiments always misbehave. Venkman's flirting, but it's all escape, while the bank account looks like a dried up lake. The last of the petty cash went down the drain, for Twinkies and coffee and a busted chain. No more donuts, no more caffeine rain, just saving the city and feeling the strain. Ray's got a plan, but it's held with tape. Egon's experiments always misbehave. Venkman's flirting, but it's all escape, while the bank account looks like a dried up lake. The last of the petty cash went down the drain, for Twinkies and coffee and a busted chain. No more donuts, no more caffeine rain, just saving the city and feeling the strain. Janine shouting, the budget's toast. Ghost traps buzzing, but we're broke the most. No time to worry when there's a haunting post, but who knew fighting ghosts cost a ton of dough? Take one last job and hope for luck. Cross the streams if we're